You played 11 seasons in the NHL after the Edmonton Oilers drafted you in the sixth round, 1981. The greatest of all time, Wayne Gretzky, already played for the Oilers at the time. Were you excited to play with 99 after being drafted by the Oilers?
Yeah, I think so. I think anybody would have been, but at that point, he had established himself, but the records were coming after that. But obviously, at that time, he was still recognized as probably the greatest player in the world.
You played for the Oilers, Minnesota, the Red Wings, and the Calgary Flames. Tell us a little bit about your most memorable NHL experiences.
Well, I think the first one, your first game in the NHL is always the most exciting. And little did you know at the time, but in that dressing room with Edmonton, there was just a bunch of young guys that, didn't know how good they were or what kind of team they were as a team or individuals. But looking back, there's probably going to could be 10 in the Hall of Fame. And the 1985 team was the greatest team of all time. And I wasn't a big part of that. I was just a small part. The 85 team, I wasn't a part of it. But just to be around those guys and to know that that team was that good was pretty special.
After your active NHL playing career, why did you decide to become a coach? What does this job mean to you?
It means everything to coach. I think you're not coaching hockey. You're coaching people. And I think for me, this year has been a lot of fun. It's a great group of guys. Pitt's been awesome to me, and it's been a lot of fun. The town's been great. Like I said, the players have been awesome. But I think really coaching, I started planning on coaching. Matter of fact, when I was probably 18 or 19 with the Oilers, I started keeping notes. Just when you get handouts or if I saw some things that I liked, I would just write it down. And I kept doing that till my career was over, and I ended up, I think, with 1,200 pages. And that was kind of my hockey Bible. And I took that into my post-playing days, into my first year in Melfort.
You already mentioned that you worked as a coach in North America. You coached Team Canada, and you were the assistant coach of the Boston Bruins. What were your key takeaways from those coaching positions?
Well, they're a little bit different. With the Team Canada events, I was the head coach of 2 world championships and the assistant coach in the Olympics in Torino, and different roles, but still a lot of fun. I think the one team that I remember most is the one that was in the World Championship that was in Austria. We were based in Innsbruck, and the gold medal game was in Vienna, and that was a lockout year. So basically, it was best on best, and we had a lot of players from the Olympic team that played on that team, but we also had a lot of players that hadn't played much hockey that year because of the lockout. So half our team had played in Europe, and half probably didn't play at all. So it was an interesting team to coach, but it was still a lot of fun. And in Boston, I was an associate coach there. And coaching NHL players was fun, but it's different there than coaching younger players because they look at their minutes, and you're working still with the people, but as an assistant coach, you're working more tactically with them as well.
As a coach, what do you particularly value when dealing with a team?
Togetherness, play together. I think controlling what you can control, and I think that's getting to know your players, getting to know what makes them tick, make sure that the player is giving 100%, make sure that they're being good teammates, and make sure the team is playing to the utmost of their ability. And I think if you do that, you give yourself the best chance of being successful and the players enjoying the experience.
You're a coach since 1996. Has your coaching style or approach changed during time?
Without a doubt. I think you look at society. Society has changed from 97 to 2023. It's just way different now, and everything evolves, whether it be the pizzas you buy at the store or how you deal with people and how people are. The society has changed, and if society changes, people changes, then coaches have to change too in terms of how you deal with it, because you're not coaching hockey, you're coaching people. and you have to understand the people, and the only way you get to really understand the people is by getting to know them. And so how you deal with them is much different now than it was back then.
Is there anything different about your coaching approach here in Europe compared to North America?
A little bit. Hockey's hockey. People are people, but yet cultures are different for sure. And you have to, I understand I'm in Austria. I'm not in Canada, and there's a saying, when in Rome, do as Romans. Well, when in Austria, do as Austrians. So, I respect where I am. I respect the culture here. In terms of the game is a little bit different, but a lot of the parts are the same. And I think the biggest part of is the teamwork, the camaraderie, working for one, and being a cohesive group. That translates over the ocean for sure.
Why did you decide to come to Europe to join the Pioneers?
It was a great opportunity. I always envisioned coming over. My parents immigrated to Canada from Luxembourg, so for me to come back here was almost natural. And I wanted to go over there and let my kids grow up and spend time with my parents. And but now it was just time. It was the right time. It was the right situation, the right place. And like I said, Pitt's been great, and the town has been great, and most importantly, the players have been really a lot of fun to work with, and really a great group of guys.
Before you came here, what was your vision? What should the Pioneers stand for under Coach Habscheid?
Well, I think they've seen it this year. I think we play as a cohesive group. I think the guys enjoy coming to the rink. I think they enjoy being around their teammates. They enjoy being around the rink, and sometimes that's tough, especially when you're losing more than you're winning. But our guys enjoy coming to the rink, and I don't think there's a team that maybe will play as hard as us, and work as hard and compete as hard as we do. I think probably the best illustration of that is two of our top players offensively are out for the season because they block shots. And that says a lot about the character of them, but that's kind of a mirror image of the rest of the team as well.
The club has determined its key objective to promote young players and develop young Austrian talents. What can you tell us about the long-term plan in this regard, in combination with playing successful ice hockey?
Well, that's a good question. It is tricky because you want to win, but you have to develop at the same time. So a lot of times people think that you just give ice time and that's how you develop. I'm a big believer in you earn your ice time. You earn things in life. Things aren't given to you in life. Only one in probably 200 million people wins the lottery. So everything else is earned. And so on our team, everything's earned. It doesn't matter what your birth certificate says. If you're young, you have to earn your time. And if they understand how they earn their time, and when they earn it, you give it to them, I mean, that's the proper way of developing in my way of thinking, and I've had some success with it. So we're not going to change that. I think if you're given something that you haven't earned, then there's not much value to it. And our guys I like the way our young guys have really come on. They've done a really good job this year, but they've earned their position as well.
You've been working with the team for several months now. To what extent does the team already meet your expectations?
Well, really, I didn't know what to think coming in because I had never coached a club team in Europe before, and I knew none of the players. So it was a clean slate for me to come in, and didn't know the coaching staff, didn't know really anything about anything. So I was a student, and still am a student, about how to get better as a coach and how to do things better. But like I said, it's been a good experience so far, and I think that we're just going to keep along the path that we're on. And obviously, things that I've learned along the way have altered how you do certain things, but for the most part, it's been pretty good. I've had a good help in Dylan and Teemu, so it's been good, and we're just going to continue on.
Which player has evolved the most during this season from your point of view?
It's tough to say. Hopefully they all have. Even even the older guys. So hopefully their game has got better, and hopefully, you not only try to improve them as hockey players, but maybe help them as people too. Because I believe if you help them as people, you help them as hockey players. So what you see on the ice is one thing, but like I said, personally, hopefully they've gotten better. But you look at the young guys. I think all of them have taken a step. I really do. I think recently we've been able to just roll 4 lines and play some of the young guys in situations that they probably couldn't handle early in the season. But again, they've earned that right, and because they've earned it and they're qualified to do it, they've been given that opportunity.
What do you think of the Win Today Ice Hockey League in general?
I really like the concept. I think I didn't know too much about it coming over, but I like the concept of different countries, and I think it's good for the area. I think it's good for the sport as well, and I think the level of hockey is really good, and I like the fact that they're looking at it expanding into more countries, different towns, and making it bigger, because I think this is kind of a hidden jewel as far as leagues are concerned, because of the international flavor that is involved. It's just not one country. There's more countries involved, which makes it more interesting.
Looking ahead to the second Pioneer season in the IC Hockey League, which steps need to be taken looking to the second season?
Well, that's kind of up to the management and Lamps, and whatever he decides. He's the one that takes the direction in this. So my job is to coach the group, and whatever the players are, that's up to him. And I just know that there's a good bunch here, and I enjoyed coaching them, and we'll see where it goes from there.
You signed a 2-year contract with the Pioneers. What's your off-season approach as a coach?
Usually, especially early, it's to get away. Throw the clipboard and the dry erase board in the garbage, take the skates, put them on the nail, leave them there, and don't even think about it. During the season, in terms of relationships, the game, the strategy, it's very direct. It's very, not intense, but it's very focused. And your relationships with the players, going through the games and practice, it's very focused. So I think it's important, especially early, for everyone just to get away. Don't even think about hockey. The old saying, less is more, to just clear your head and get away and rejuvenate.
If you had one free wish for the upcoming season, what would you wish for?
For the upcoming next season? I think we already have that. The wish has already been granted, and that's wisdom and experience. My dad taught me a long time ago that your greatest teacher is experience, and this franchise, this group of guys didn't have any experience in the league, in terms of being a group in this town. So that, from an organizational standpoint, is good too. We have a year under our belt. With every day of experience, you become wiser, you become smarter. So I think that's the biggest thing that's going to help us for the year ahead is this past season.
You've been living in Vorarlberg for a couple of months now. Do you have any favorite activities or places?
Well, I run a lot, and it's kind of neat because one day I can run to Switzerland, and then the next day I run to Liechtenstein, and if I really feel good about myself, I can run to Germany. So, and then I run in Austria as well, so I feel pretty good. And my jogging, I get to run in 4 different countries if I choose, which is kind of cool.
To wrap this interview up, what was the biggest surprise for you here in Austria?
I'm not sure. Probably it's a well-run league. It's good franchises. It's well-run. It's professionally run. And it's just been a treat. I've really enjoyed it. The little breaks, it gives you time to go and, for me to go on and see some things, travel a little bit, and it's just been really enjoyable. I'm very grateful to have the job, and for every year, this is probably the first year that I haven't put it in it, but most of the years that I've coached, there's a sign saying this is a privilege, not a right. And I look at coaching here as a privilege. It's been awesome. It's been a great experience, and I look forward to coming to the rink every day.
Thank you.
All right.